Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. In today's video we are going to be doing yet again another unboxing. We are going to be unboxing 10 NG models aircraft in today's unboxing, and we have quite a few Southwest aircraft as well. We have 5 of the 10 aircraft we're going to be unboxing today are all Southwest models. But yeah, I think just like usual, I'm going to go ahead and introduce you to all the aircraft we're going to be unboxing today, and then we will get to the actual unboxing. So starting off today, we have the British Airways Airbus A318, of course a very iconic aircraft, and my first A318 in my collection, so that's going to be a really cool model. We then have the Royal Air Force A321neo. It's a pretty unique aircraft. Next up we have a pretty basic one. We have the American Boeing 737-800. This is one of the first 737s NG ever released. It was back in the summer of 2019, and I ordered 2, however only 1 arrived. So I've been waiting for a re-release so I could finally get my second American 737-800. Then next up we have the first of quite a few special liveries. We have the Alaska Boeing 737-800 in the Star Wars Galaxy's Edge Disneyland livery. We then have the Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-700 in the Canyon Blue color scheme, but without the split scimitars. I have this exact same aircraft but with the split scimitars, and I like to have this variation, so now we have one without. I do also have this on the 737-800s. I have both Canyon Blue variants with and without the split scimitars. And then going even older than the Canyon Blue livery, but a very modern aircraft, we have the Desert Gold Southwest 737 MAX 8, which is one of their retro liveries they've painted on one of their brand new MAX 8 aircraft, which is pretty cool. We then have the 737-700 in the Colorado 1 color scheme. I have this aircraft but in the Canyon Blue tail, so I wanted to get the upgraded version with the heart tail instead. Then next up we have something new that Southwest are doing, and that is painting some of their state liveries onto the 737-800s, which a couple years ago would have been unheard of. But here we have the Tennessee 1 livery on the 737-800. I have this exact same livery, but on the 737-700 instead, and I believe this is something they've started to do, which is paint a lot of their state liveries onto the -800s instead, and that can be extended onto our next aircraft, which again is the Illinois 1 livery 737-800, again on the -800 instead of the -700. I do as well have this livery on the -700 as well. And finishing off today's unboxing, while 9 of the aircraft today have been British and American aircraft, this one is a bit of a curveball because we have the Air Koryo TU204-100. If you don't know what airline Air Koryo is, it is the state-owned airline from North Korea, so that's pretty fun. And so starting off today, we are going to be unboxing the British Airways Airbus A318. We're going to go ahead and unbox this, and then we will go through some of the information and history about this aircraft. This is of course the smallest member of the A320 family, and also the rarest as well. Not many remain in operation today. And so here we have the British Airways Airbus A318. Now you guys have probably flown on either an A319, an A320 or an A321 at some point in your life. They are one of the most common aircraft out there, and they all belong to the A320 family. But one of the lesser known members of the A320 family is this, the Airbus A318. So to put into context just how rare the A318 is, the A319 sold a total of 1,484 units, the A320 sold 4,752, and the A321 sold 1,784, while the A318 sold 80 units. What is pretty interesting though is when it comes to the Neo variants of the A320 family, the success has kind of jumped up one stage. Airbus will not be making an A318 Neo just based on how poorly the original A318 sold. The A319 Neo though is performing similarly to how the original A318 did, with only 92 A319 Neos on order. The A320 Neo is selling very well, not as well as the original A320, with 3,989 orders so far, and again that will increase as more airlines order the A320 Neo. But so far the star of the A320 family has been the A321neo, with 4,672 orders orders so far. There's about 100 units in it so far between the orders for the A321neo and the sales of the original A320, but again, more airlines will continue to order the A321neo in the future, so it's looking very likely that the most profitable and most well-sold A320 family aircraft will be the A321neo. But moving back from the most successful A320 family aircraft to the least successful one, here we have again the British Airways A318. Unfortunately, this aircraft was retired from the British Airways fleets during the pandemic, but originally British Airways operated 2 of these, and they retired one of them midway through service, having only one in operation later on in life. It operated a very unique flight, having the flight number Speedbird 1, which was originally held by Concorde. But these A318s were based from London City Airport, and they would fly between London City and New York JFK with a stop in Shannon. But to make it even cooler than that, this aircraft operated an all business class layout featuring 32 business class seats. This is probably the closest you could get to flying a private jet with a mainstream airline. It features the exact same livery as all the other A320 family members in BA's fleets. We have the blue underbelly with the blue engines. We have the Speedbird checkmark there with the British Airways titles, the crown emblem, and we have the one emergency exit over the wing, which both the A318 and A319 have. Both the A320 and A321 have 2 emergency exits over the wings. We have the registration, the rear door, and of course the British Airways logo on the tail there. But overall, this is a very unique model to have in any collection. Next up here, we have the Royal Air Force Airbus A321neo. This aircraft is a pretty cool one. It's in, of course, the Vespina color scheme that's seen on a number of other Royal Air Force aircraft. This livery is usually used for transport aircraft. And this aircraft is operated by Titan Airways. It's based on a contract that Titan Airways have with the Royal Air Force, where Titan operate the aircraft for the Royal Air Force. Over the last decade, the Royal Air Force have drastically upgraded their transport aircraft. Before 2013, the Royal Air Force were using the VC-10s on long-haul flights, while using the BAE 146 on short-haul flights. In 2013, they brought in the Airbus A330 MRTT, which became essentially the flagship for transporting members of the royal family, members of government, and also senior members of the military as well. But for a long time, all the A330s featured a grey livery, which most of them still do. The ones that are in grey primarily operate as tanker aircraft as well as troop transport aircraft. But there is one A330 MRTT painted into a Vespina colour scheme, and that is the aircraft that flies royal family members, the government on long-haul flights. Then they brought in this aircraft, which is operated by Titan. This is used as either a short-haul aircraft or a lower capacity aircraft. This was first used by the government in 2021 during the Newquay G7. Boris Johnson flew this aircraft from London Stansted down to Newquay, which is where the G7 was being held in 2021. But then recently they have also replaced the BAE 146s. They've retired them and replaced them with the new Dassault 900 LX, which is known in the Royal Air Force as the Envoy 4. They look really cool, and while I don't think we're going to get one of them in 1:400 scale, I am still holding out hope to get one in 1:200 scale. But switching our attention back to this A321, as you can see, it is a really nice livery. You can see the fuselage is mainly white. We have the United Kingdom up there in these gold titles. We have this blue kind of streak that goes back into the Union Jack on the tail, and that's basically what the tail is. It's just a Union Jack. I think it's a really effective color scheme and one that looks really good. Next up, we have this American Boeing 737-800. This is a pretty basic one, so I'm going to go a little bit quicker through this aircraft. But taking it out of the cradle here, we have a very nice looking American Boeing 737-800. As I said, the original NG American 737-800 is one of the first 737s NG ever released. It was back in the summer of 2019, and I originally ordered 2 of them, but only one ever arrived, so I've been waiting for a re-release all these years to finally get my second one now. We have this American Boeing 737-800. American have 303 of these in their fleet, and the one new addition to this version versus the one I got in 2019 is we have a Wi-Fi box, which is pretty cool. But apart from that, it's basically a regular American 737-800. It's one of the most common aircraft seen around the skies of the US. It's one that isn't so much of an interesting aircraft, but it's more just going to come in very handy when doing airport updates on Washington Dulles and Washington Reagan. So with that, we're going to move on to our next aircraft. And next up here we have another Star Wars livery. Airlines seem to love getting Star Wars liveries on their aircraft. It's weird that we've never had a Marvel livery or another big brand like that. I mean, United had both a brand deal with Spider-Man and United. We got a Star Wars livery on a United aircraft, but we never got a Spider-Man livery. It's something I've never really understood. But here we have the Alaska Boeing 737-800 in this Star Wars livery, and it's not just a regular Star Wars livery, it is specifically advertising Galaxy's Edge, which is a new part of Disneyland where they've got some Star Wars rides and stuff like that. And here we have the Alaska Star Wars livery. It's not one of the best Star Wars liveries we've had, but it's also not one of the worst. I would say that kind of ANA and United Star Wars liveries are probably above this, but then again, I think that Virgin Atlantic and LATAM's are probably below this, so it's probably about in the middle. Relatively speaking, for a special livery of this design, it's probably a bit basic. We have, of course, the black fuselage of the aircraft. We've got a few stars dotted about, but we've got the Alaska titles. We have a TIE fighter. We got the Star Wars titles there with Disneyland as well, and then we have the Millennium Falcon on the tail. But apart from that, for a special livery of this caliber, I think it's fairly basic. But it is another Alaska aircraft to my collection. We've actually added quite a few Alaska aircraft into my collection over the last few months, and we do have some more on the way as well. So my Alaska collection is growing. Then moving to an airline whose fleet in my collection is definitely going to grow in today's unboxing. We have the first of 5 Southwest Airline aircraft. Here we have the Canyon Blue 737-700. These -700s are still the most common aircraft in Southwest's fleet. They have 412 of them, but they are now starting to be retired very slowly because, of course, they have over 400 of these in their fleet. It's going to take a very long time to both retire them, but also to get a replacement for them. The replacement for these aircraft will be the 737 MAX 7, of which at the moment Southwest have 189 on order, but that's likely to be an initial order, and Southwest will probably order more in the future to kind of equate to over 400 in total to fully replace these -700s. But yeah, here we have the Canyon Blue livery. Who doesn't like the Canyon Blue livery? It's a really nice deep rich blue on the top side there with the red and the orange on the underside and the Southwest logo on the tail. It's a really cool aircraft and one that is going to look really good in both my collection and some Baltimore updates. And so next up here we have the Southwest Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8 in the retro desert gold color scheme. I'm really excited for this aircraft, just mainly because when we had the release of the Gemini 737-700 in the desert gold livery, they absolutely butchered the color, so I'm really hoping that NG have done a better job with this aircraft, which knowing NG they probably have. And yes, for a short answer, it does look a million times better. The desert gold livery just in real life looks amazing. And for those of you who don't know, the desert gold livery is Southwest's original livery. This is the livery they had before the Canyon Blue livery. And if you're wondering why this is on a MAX 8, this was painted recently as a retro color scheme just to pay homage to kind of Southwest past, and it looks really, really nice. Honestly, I think this livery might suit the MAX 8 the best, ironically. But yeah, Southwest have 250 of these MAX 8s on order, but of course only one looks like this, and this is going to make an absolutely beautiful addition to my collection. Next up here we have the Colorado 1 color scheme. These next 3 I'm going to go through a little bit quicker just because again they're more Southwest aircraft. It's more relatively the same thing. Of course these have their state liveries on, but again they're kind of samey. And here we have the aircraft looking amazing. This is the Colorado 1 color scheme with the heart tail. I do already have this aircraft, but with the Canyon Blue tail. so I wanted to get this one to update my collection, and I probably will sell my Canyon Blue aircraft or something like that. I don't really have a need for it anymore, or I might just keep it for old time's sake. But we have the new upgraded Colorado 1 Livery 737-700. We then have the Tennessee 1 color scheme, but this is on the 737-800. So for the longest time, Southwest have had their state liveries on the -700s, but now, recently, they've started to paint some of their state liveries on the -800s. I do wonder whether this is because they're preparing for the retirement of the -700s, and so they've started painting them on these aircraft instead. But here we have the Tennessee 1 737-800, looking really nice with those split scimitars. And then finally for Southwest, we have one of my personal favorites, 1 liveries. We have the Illinois 1 color scheme. Again, this was repainted off of the -700 and onto the -800. So here we have the -800. I have both the Tennessee 1 and the Illinois 1 color schemes on the -700s as well. So it'll be really cool to kind of compare these. But here we have the beautiful looking Illinois 737-800. And I say that with a lot of meaning because, as I say, this is probably my favorite of the 1 liveries, next to probably the Maryland 1 color scheme, which hopefully we'll get on a -800 one day. But here we have the Illinois 1 color scheme 737-800. And then last but not least, here we have the Air Koryo TU204-100. This is commonly referred to as the Soviet Boeing 757, as it looks a lot like the 757. I do also have the Air Koryo TU204-300. Now it's kind of counterintuitive to how Western aircraft do this, but usually when you think of a -100 and a -300, you would assume that the -300 is larger. However, on Soviet aircraft, or at least this one, it goes the other way around. So the -100, this one, is actually the longer version of the Tupolev 204, and the -300 is the shorter one. Of course, with aircraft like the 757, you think the -200, that's shorter, and the -300, that's longer. It's the same with pretty much every aircraft in the Western world, but for some reason on the Tupolev 204 it's the other way around. But with that being said, we are going to go ahead and open this aircraft, and here we have the aircraft. What's interesting is that Air Koryo only have 2 of these Tupolev 204s. They have one -300 and one -100, and in the notes of this aircraft it says that this aircraft, the -100, was converted from a -300. So originally, apparently, this was built as a -300, and then I guess it was elongated to form a -100. I'm not really sure how that works, but apparently that's what they did. And another pretty shocking fact is that apart from the Antonov 148, the Tupolev 204 is Air Koryo's newest aircraft. And to put into context as to how new this aircraft is, its first flight was in 1989. It's safe to say that Air Koryo do not have the most up-to-date fleet in the world, but this aircraft primarily flies between Pyongyang and Beijing in China, so this does fly internationally on that one route between Pyongyang and Beijing. As far as the livery goes, it's a slightly different one to the other Air Koryo aircraft I have. It's a different livery, but it's primarily, as you can see, white and grey. The top is white, the bottom is grey, with this red line going down the middle. We have Air Koryo in English, Air Koryo in Korean, we have the Air Koryo logo, and on the tail we have the North Korean flag. And just like that, that does conclude today's unboxing. A very successful one, as in no aircraft arrived broken, which is always a good thing. Honestly, I don't remember the last time I've had a broken aircraft. They've all been pretty good. Over the last few months. I probably haven't had one for at least half a year. But yeah, some really fascinating aircraft as well. While we didn't spend much time with them, all the Southwest aircraft are amazing. They look really, really good. We've just unboxed so many Southwest aircraft at this point. I tend to kind of overlook them and kind of skip through them a bit just because we've done them all before, essentially. The Alaska is really cool. The American, of course, a little bit boring, but it's necessary for updates. The A318 is a really cool aircraft. This one I've been waiting for a very long time for. I've got this in 1:200 scale. I've just been waiting for it in 1:400 scale, and of course another Air Koryo. We're getting closer to that Pyongyang airport update. I promise that will be on its way eventually. I'm just kind of waiting for more Air Koryo aircraft to be released so I can do a sufficient Pyongyang airport update. But apart from that, that does conclude today's video. I want to thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.